Hello, everyone. This is Professor Sexton, and we're going to talk about Scene 4 of Disgrace. Also, in addition to talking about Scene 4, we're also going to discuss the paper topic in this one, too, so we'll combine. So, Scene 4 happens 6 months after Scene 3 in the dinner party. When Scene 4 opens up, we have Amir in the apartment. The apartment is mainly empty, and he's packing. So you can tell that a lot has happened in those 6 months. There's a knock on the door. Emily and Abe comes. There's a difference in the way that Abe is dressed now. He is wearing a Muslim skull cap, and his wardrobe is muted, unlike the vibrant colors of the first scene. So you see this difference in Abe. The reason why they've come is that Abe has gotten into a little bit of trouble with the law. That he and a friend of his were at Starbucks, and the friend Tariq has said something to the barista there, and it got out of hand. They got arrested, at, associated with being terrorists or linked with that, and so being linked with Al Qaeda, and so all of that comes through. And what Abe is doing, or Hussein, because he's now going back by his birth name, is coming to seek once again legal advice from his uncle. So in a way, Scene 4 returns to some of the same that same technique that was used in Scene 1. So we see that kind of return there. Um, Amir makes a call, but then what happens is Amir and Abe start to really talk about Amir. And in this conversation between the two of them, or Hussein gives Amir a lot of hard truths that Amir has not been wanting to face. Um, and we kind of learn also that Amir has been fired. And then Abe says to Amir, I know what you did to her. How could you? Um, but then what Abe also says to Amir is, you want something from these people that you will never get. And Abe goes on to say that how Amir has always turned his back on his own people, and how this other group makes him hates himself, um, and also how he used to look up to his uncle, but he doesn't look up to him any longer, and how they disgrace us. And when they said they, it means American society. The way that American society makes Muslims feel that they have to be, that they're less than, or that they have to change, or that they have to fit into this American ideology, which is what Amir has been trying to do. But look, he did all of that, and what did it get him? Nothing. And this is what Abe is trying to tell Amir. And you don't really get the sense that Amir is really listening, because he does say, I'm your uncle, I'm your elder. But I think in some ways it does take effect, because eventually Abe leaves, and then it is just Amir and Emily, just the two of them. So once again, this kind of like reverses Scene 1. Scene 1 started with Amir and Emily, and then added Abe. Scene 4 starts with Amir, Emily, Abe, then Abe goes. And so you leave Emily and Amir with each other just talking. You come to realize in this last dialogue between the two of them, they are getting a divorce. Um, Amir asked Emily, if you hated me so much, why did you drop the charges? She says, I don't hate you. He's been writing her letters. Apparently, she's not been answering them or returning them, because he asked if you got my letters. He tells her, I'm finally understanding your work and seeing your work. Um, she kind of blames herself a little bit about what happened between them, because she says that, she was selfish, and that her work made her blind. And maybe it made her blind that in her work, she painted an image of Amir that she wanted to see, but not the real Amir. I don't know. It's a possibility. Um, But Amir does say something very interesting to her on the last page. He says, I just want you to be proud of me. I want you to be proud you were with me. So there's a sense that Amir is still seeking acceptance. Um, Emily says, has the last words in the play. She says, goodbye, Amir. Don't write me anymore. And the last thing that you see is Amir. And so let me just read this. Emily exits. As Emil walks over to return to packing, he notices the partially wrapped canvas against the wall. He walks over to it, picks it up, then tears the rest of the wrapping off. From his position on stage, we will only see enough of the painting to realize it's Emily's portrait of him, studied after Vasquez more. He takes a searching, long look. That's the end of the play. So the end of the play is Amir is left there by himself. Emily is left. Abe is left. And all he has there is that painting. And he goes and he takes a searching long look at the painting. And the words that I want you to pay attention to there is searching long look. What is he looking for in that painting? What does he see? These are not questions that the play answers for us. These are things that we have to analyze and see for ourselves. He did say earlier that he was beginning to understand Emily's work. So maybe this painting is giving him some perspective that he did not have before. So you see that in this play, this painting plays a very large role in the play. It is what opens up scene 1, and it's in the heart of scene 3, and it reappears in scene 4. That brings us to the paper assignment. So let me just share the paper assignment file. It's a very short paper assignment in terms of what's written there. There's not a lot there. So let's enlarge it. And so let me just read it to you. Central to I Had Akhtar's Disgraced is Emily's portrait of Amir in the style of Diego de Silva's Vasquez portrait of Juan de Pereira. An image of Vasquez painting is in the course documents. Juan was Vasquez's slave and assistant, who Vasquez later freed. For this topic, you need to analyze the role that this painting plays in terms of how Amir views himself. In your introduction, you need to state specifically how Amir views himself. This is your thesis. You need at least 3 points to support your thesis. The ones that I suggest are the following. What motivates Emily to paint the portrait in the first place? Amir's reaction to being the subject of the painting, and the last scene in which Amir takes a searching long look at the painting. These are suggestions. You are free to develop your own points. Remember, all 3 points must work to illustrate how the painting relates to Amir's views of self. Everything else is roughly the same. Type, double space, 12 points, times a New Roman font. I put the page range between 3 to 5. This, your last paper, is due on Sunday, January 24th by 11:59 p.m. So let me go back over the paper assignment. So the first things that you have to do is this. You have to determine how Amir views himself. That's part of your thesis. What is Amir's view of himself? Then you need to anchor that to the painting. How does that painting that Emily has done reflects this, illustrate this, contrast this, complicates this? So Amir's view has to be related to that painting. Your 3 points all deal with the painting. So there is scene 1, where Emily is painting the portrait. So you can either focus on what motivates her to paint the portrait, or you can focus on why Amir dislikes being the subject of that painting. Another one could be Isaac's view of the painting that comes up in scene 3, because that's very important as well, because that speaks more to that topic. And then maybe another one could be scene 4, where Amir takes a long searching look at that painting. So your 3 body points all have to deal with that painting in some shape, form, or fashion. Amir's view of it, Emily's view of it, Isaac's views of it, and everything that you analyze about those views all have to relate back to Amir's overall view of himself and how that painting fits in. Now, for this assignment, you are not required to talk about the original painting. However, if you want to add that to your analysis, you can. So that is another way that you can construct this paper, is by making a point to the original painting. But as I said before, that is totally up to you if you decide to do that or not. It's not a requirement. All right, so if there are any questions about the paper assignment, feel free to email me. I hope that everyone is doing well, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.